Greetings, this is Christopher Long, and welcome to Conversations, my fat-free series that finds me talking to some of the most fascinating people on today's pop culture scene. In this bite-sized installment, I'm hanging out with the one and only Bella Perron from the band Plush. We chatted about a bunch of cool stuff, from her band's upcoming outing opening for Slash and their 2022 Welcome to Rockville appearance, to Kiss Records, Captain Crunch, and exactly who's the biggest geek in Plush. Hang on, this episode is lots of fun. On the line with me today, one of the hardest working players on the planet. You can probably hear her in the background packing her bags because she's prepping to hit the road for a 2-week U.S. tour opening for Slash from the rock band Plush. It's superstar shredder Bella Perron. What is up, Bella?
Hey Chris, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Last time we spoke, back last fall, Plush only had been batting in the major league for about 5 months.
Since we last spoke, things just kept snowballing and growing, and it's really just been such a crazy ride.
Plush has performed and toured with the likes of Stone Temple Pilots, Daughtry, Hailstorm, Evanescence, and Seven Dust, to name just a few. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the show, you're gearing up to hit the road for a couple of weeks opening for Slash. How is that newfound tour life working for you?
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Now, a year ago, as a teenager, you made the adult decision to walk away from a promising college career in order to pursue your music career.
I mean, like you mentioned earlier, like I was studying at Berkeley, and go figure, I hadn't declared my major yet, but I was planning on either doing performance or music business. And then I got to the point, where I was just like, well, am I really going to be spending all of this time and money and effort going to college for something like performance when I have the opportunity to just go out and do it, It definitely paid off making that decision, because since then it's just been nonstop opening for all these bands and having so many great experiences along the way. And touring's definitely an interesting career path for sure, and very different from 9-to-5 jobs, but I really love what I do, and I'm so thankful to be able to do this.
Now, you realize, though, that you and your Plush colleagues are the exception rather than the rule, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, just the fact that all this has been happening to us really has been mind-blowing, Like, I keep telling people, we're going on the road with Slash. I think I'm personally leaving home for rehearsals in just a few days, and it still has not hit me at all. Like, literally right before the call, I was just jamming to Appetite for Destruction, just like I did when I was a kid in, like, middle school, high school, Still has not processed with me at all that we're about to tour with him and open for him.
It's sort of a pinch me experience, right?
Oh, certainly.
Now, once you wrap up with Slash, Plush will be heading down here to the Sunshine State, when you will be performing at the 4-day Welcome to Rockville Festival at the Daytona Speedway, and that is running from May 19th through the 22nd. Even cooler, you're kicking off day 1 playing with Five Finger Death Punch, Papa Roach, In This Moment, Black Label Society, and Kiss. Tell me how you feel about being part of such a major event, and what would your 12-year-old self think about finding out that you were performing with Kiss?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, it's just such an honor to be a part of something that's so huge. Like that, the lineup this year for Welcome to Rockville is really just insane. Like, it seems like, every killer band that's out today is playing this festival. So we're honored to, especially to be day 1 when everyone's getting there and all excited, and then we did it, so we found out that we're playing Rockville, and then a few months later we found out that Kiss was the headliner for the day. and we had actually just played in Vegas that night, opening for Hailstorm and Evanescence. And someone backstage said it to passing to me, like they thought I already found out, like, and they said like, oh, you're opening for Kiss, right? I'm like, what? Like, repeat that, please. And I just started crying, like, just tears of happiness, because it's like never in a million years would I have ever guessed that would happen,
Because, as I know, Kiss was one of your original early influences. We could even credit Ace Frehley as being your original inspiration for picking up the guitar in the first place.
Oh, he's certainly why I picked up the guitar. Really, just between Ace Frehley and seeing my dad play, I started playing when I was 5 years old because of it.
Now, when you're not on stage, what's pumping through your earbuds these days?
Oh, right now, I've been listening to Dirty Honey a lot of Alice in Chains. I think that's from hanging out with Ashley. Right now, I've been listening to Aerosmith Rocks quite a bit. And of course, stuff like Sabbath, Zeppelin, trying to think anything new. Pretty much the usual at the moment, but I'm always like looking for, new bands to listen to, or especially like on the road, I'm constantly listening to music, so I always like checking out new stuff.
Okay, so you're always looking for new records. Speaking of new records, the Plush debut dropped a couple of months ago, and it's been meeting with widespread praise. What do you think about it?
I'm so excited that it's finally out. The whole like process of making the record went by really fast. It was kind of like a condensed time frame, where we started pre-production like April, and everything was finished, I believe, by like first week of August. And then the record came out late October, so it was just like a couple of months of like sitting on a finished record, but all of us were so excited because it felt like it captured really where we are as a band and our journey up until this point, and we were also excited because up until September we only had Hate out, so it's been awesome getting the album out and having the now 13 songs that represent us as a band instead of just the one.
And in that process, you had what I'm going to imagine is the privilege of working with legendary producer Johnny K.
Yes, oh my gosh, it was amazing working with him. I learned just so much. Really working in the studio with him, because it was my first time going into like a professional studio with a producer and all this, really kind of getting like thrown into the deep end really fast. And he was so great with teaching me, everything from like the basics of like what is the best way to play guitar to really capture all that energy on the track, like, because it's very different playing live versus playing in the studio, and that was something very new to me. And it was just so awesome, working with someone who really is a legend and has worked with so many amazing bands. Like, it was taking the time to work with us and also teach me so much along the way. I really appreciate all of that. It was such a special experience for sure.
Now, do we have a favorite track?
Oh, lately it's been changing. I think my favorite track at the moment has to be Better Off Alone. Like, I really love the guitar parts I did it for the intro and outro. And then also I really love Athena and Sober.
Yeah. Now, what is there a particular track or particular tracks that are really connecting live with your audience?
Oh yeah, I think it goes across the board for us. Like, our favorites to play live, like, especially like, I love the energy when we go out on stage, and we always kick off the show with Athena and going directly into Champion. And just like the energy of those two songs really seems to get the crowd going, and the crowd really seems to interact with it, especially with like coming out with high energy songs when you're opening for a bigger name, and kind of your job is to get the whole crowd like warmed up and ready for the headliner.
And you do that well.
Oh, thank you.
Now, you guys just released a new video, speaking of Better Off Alone. Want to talk about that? Because it looks incredible. What a world-class video production, and what a world-class song. What was that process like, doing that video?
It was awesome getting to work on the visual side of things. I feel like with Better Off Alone, we really had a chance to fine-tune the imaging that we want as a band, whereas up until this point, it's been like, I mean, as it should be, music first, everything kind of comes to the side, afterwards. But we kind of got to a point where it's like, okay, we love the music, but stuff with, like, our imaging isn't really, like, as strong. It was awesome getting to work on Better Off Alone and really have just the whole, like, director and his whole team really had a spot on view of what we were going for. And we're all really proud of how it came out.
Where else are we going to be seeing Plush this year? Because I imagine you all are going to be out on the road for a long time to come, promoting and supporting the record.
Yeah, right now we don't have anything else announced yet, but we do have some exciting stuff in the works that I'm hoping we can share soon. But yes, we're planning on being on the road for most of the year, just really pushing the record and getting out there and touring.
I spoke to Ashley Supa just the other day, and apparently she is a big fan of yours, and she commented that you blow her mind every time you go on stage.
Oh my god, no, I love her. She really is just like if you can think of, like, the ideal person that you would want to go on a long tour with, like, she is your person where it's always, when you're hanging around with her, like, you're always in for a good time, like, something is gonna happen, like, whenever we're wandering backstage or whatever, like, I feel like we'll always, like, come back and, like, have the craziest stories for, like, our tour manager. And I remember one tour, our guitar tech asked us, like, how does this stuff even happen to you guys? Like, we'll just be wandering and it's like, we'll just kind of go on some sort of adventure, but she's always a lot of fun, and she's, like, likewise just an amazing performer, and she's such, like, a fun personality to be around, and was literally just, like, one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Now, when we spoke last, back in the fall, you yourself referred to your band as Geeks. I was wondering if we could go back to that, and can you tell me who's the biggest geek in Plush?
Oh man, I mean, I feel like everyone kind of has their own thing, like, for me, talking about gear or guitars, or specifically, like, Ivan's guitars, like, I could talk about it all day, For Ashley, any sort of, like, facts about Alice in Chains or Jerry Cantrell, like, she just knows all this random stuff, and it's the funniest thing. And same for Brooke and Mariah, too, where, like, they're very focused on, like, music and gear, and I think it's pretty funny, too, because, like, on stage you probably wouldn't guess. I mean, for the most part, we are pretty quiet and introverted, just kind of, like, nerd out, like, our hobbies and what we're into.
Sure. Now, one last question. Bella Perron, are you ready to play Big Five?
Yes, I would love
to. Okay, now for those who have not heard our little show before, the Big Five is a fun new segment in which my guests are given the opportunity to offer their deepest, most personal, and intimate glimpses into their souls. So, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Number 5, Destroyer or Rock and Roll Over?
Oh, Destroyer.
Might put you on the spot here. LA or New York?
Oh, shoot, I love both, but I'm going to go with LA.
Right answer. Number 3, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here.
Oh, okay.
Starbucks or Dunkin'?
Starbucks.
You are right again. All right, number 2, Wilma or Betty?
Betty.
And now, number 1, the most important question on the Bella Perron episode of Big Five, Captain Crunch or Honey Nut Chex?
Honey writing that checks for sure.
You got through the Big Five. Bella Perron, you are a superstar. Thanks so much for calling into Conversations. And tell Mariah Formica I'm coming for her next.
Will do. Thank you so much for having me, Chris.
And that puts the wraps on another action-packed episode of Conversations. Thanks so much to Bella Perron for stopping by. You can catch her live and nationwide on tour with Plush throughout the upcoming spring and summer. You can also find the band via your handy pocket gadget at plushrocks.net. Props to my producer, Liam Cannon, who puts the show together at Janus Studios in Palm Bay, Florida. I'm Christopher Long. You can find me on the Twitter at authorlong. Until next time, thanks for listening to Conversations.